who is someone, and very briefly, just like who is someone that was instrumental to your faith? Like, so this is our chance because, like who's someone that was instrumental in leading you to Jesus? So.
Yeah. Yeah. So for me, so I grew up in a Christian home. And so I was exposed to it for sure, probably just through my upbringing. But I think when I got into making it my own, or even I remember that cross the line of faith moment. So actually I was at a revival in the church that I grew up in and heard an evangelist had come and just shared it in a different way that I hadn't, I just related to it in a different way in that moment. And that's when I decided to cross the line of faith and accept Jesus as my savior. But then beyond that, it was there was actually a handful of folks at my church who just showed me what that looked like then to lean in and to continue to grow my faith. Because I was young and I didn't really know what that looked like. But then I'd also say then fast forward, went to high school, thought I really knew how my faith was my own, but then went to college and didn't really know how to make the jump out on my own then to make my faith my own. And so then actually ended up going to, after a couple of years of church shopping, but I wasn't really church shopping, ended up going to a different church with a roommate. And then again, actually ran into a couple who was farther in years than I and just said, hey, I don't know if I know how to do this on my own. And just kind of took even Kevin and I in at that time and was just hey, yeah, let's start doing life together. So I think it's been a couple of different people probably along the way. So but definitely people who were constant and willing to wade into relationship and walk alongside of us.
What I love that is it wasn't one person, it was a multitude of people. Your story encompasses so much of what we said. One, someone invited you or your family to church. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
That's evangel, come sit with me.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It happened at church. So someone invited you, you came and you had a moment. So that was really cool. And then you named it was a litany of other people along the way that pushed you along. Mm-hmm. So it just goes to show that it's not one. There's lots of seeds and there's lots of invitations and there's lots of influence.
Jason? Mine is a couple people as well, but my parents come to mind first. They modeled who Jesus was. They talked to me about Jesus. They shared their story about who they were before Jesus with me and how Jesus had changed them. And I find that deeply encouraging for parents because we obviously understand as a parent the role that you play in a kid's life, preparing them for adulthood and all that. There's no greater influence in a kid's faith than the parents. No greater influence. And you do not have to do it perfectly. You just got to do it authentically. You just got to do it in front of them. Just live it in front of them. You don't have to pray perfect. Just pray.
I love that.
Just 2 sentences. I mean, you don't have to know all that. Just read the Bible with them. You know what I mean? So, but that will shape your kid. That's how you share your faith, and including the struggles at times. So my parents, and then when I was 18, 19, I was pretty far from God and wasn't real interested. And Irma and Joseph Chan they just loved me where I was, man. They didn't try to force me to be, but they didn't back down from telling me the truth about things. But they kept having me in their home for meals, and they just loved me, accepted me, and said, there's a better way, and it's Jesus, and we love you. And it's both can live side by side.
I love that. And it's a generational change. So as I was thinking about it, obviously my mom was the one who read the Bible to me, and, her faith was infectious. But who I want to talk about is there was this little old woman, it was my Aunt Mary, my great Aunt Mary. She invited my mom to church several times before I was born. She invited...
Your mom wasn't a part of one.
She wasn't a Christian.
Wow.
So my mom wasn't a Christian, but this woman, great Aunt Mary, she kept going, come to church with me, come to church with me, come to church with me. And eventually my mom said yes. And she came, she gave her life to Jesus Christ. and that changed my father's faith. It led to my sister and I becoming Christians. It led to my children being Christians.
Yeah.
It led me to becoming a pastor.
Yeah.
And it was all because one lady persistently said, come to church with me. And it's like, and I assure you, Aunt Mary did not have it perfectly spelled out.
Yep.
But she just
didn't have to.
Just said,
Just
come to church with me.
Just kept throwing seed.
Yeah. And one day my mom picked it up and it changed everything.
That's an awesome story.